If you see Ohio State in the woods with a grizzly bear, help the bear. Is I think the main takeaway I have from what happened to that Rose Bowl, man, because this was always who Ohio State, I think, was supposed to be. But the fact that they're clicking now in the fashion that they are, this is now Ohio State's playoff. And Vegas has them as the favorite. That's, whatever you want to make of it. I'm just looking at this from a purely football perspective. This is like, who's beating Ohio State when they're playing at that level? The answer is nobody. And they took their lumps a little bit during the regular season. The Oregon game happened. The Michigan game happened. But, I'm looking at what they are right now overall, and they look like just a completely different outfit. And I think the question you ask yourself is why? What changed for Ohio State? What changed when it comes to how they looked against Michigan and how they looked against Tennessee and Oregon the last couple of weeks? It's a funny way to put it, but I think the Michigan game, in a lot of ways, is what you point to as the heartbreak story arc for Ohio State. And we said this yesterday in our game reaction, but you guys all have those friends who go through a breakup and they have two different storylines in front of them. They can pick storyline one, where they just become a bum, they become soft mentally, soft physically, and they just pack it up. Or you have the other storyline where they just say, you know what, nope, that's not going to be how I go down. That's not going to be my future, if you will. So they respond and they say, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to get after it. Going to transform the physical. We're going to stay late at work, all right? We're going to kill them with success, a little extra career juice there. We're going to operate with more of an edge here. Just have a different pep in your step, different swagger. That was Ohio State post-Michigan, man. That truly is. You look at how they operated, and Ryan Day said this post-game, a lot of different players said this post-game, but legitimately, they are operating with a different level of what feels like urgency, different level of aggression. And I can't help but feel a little bit like the worst possible thing happening to Ohio State was that Michigan loss. After it happened, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it hurts. But in a lot of ways, there's nothing worse that can happen. Losing to Tennessee at home in Columbus would have been bad, not worse than the Michigan game. Losing to Oregon in the Rose Bowl would have been bad, not worse than the Michigan game. So when the worst case scenario actually happens, it should remove quite a bit of fear. And when it removes the fear and you can just play in a lot of ways free, hey, nobody expects anything of us anyways after this Michigan game. A lot of people have already packed it in on us. They're expecting us to fold. That, I think, created a new, like I said, sense of aggression from Ohio State. And we saw that with how they operated offensively. This is a brand new offense, man. And Will Howard is the best, I think, sample size to point to as to why it's so different. Will Howard went for over 300 yards one time during the regular season. It was the Oregon game. In this college football playoff, he has gone over 300 yards on two separate occasions. This is Chip Kelly now saying, okay, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to swing a big bat. We got Ferraris in the perimeter. And if we go down swinging, we go down swinging, but it's not going to be because we didn't try and target Jeremiah Smith. You watched that game yesterday. It was very, very clear early on in the scripted plays. They are trying to get number for the football. And Jeremiah Smith, seven receptions, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. We need to all understand what we're watching with him. We said it again in the game reaction yesterday. There are people that are dialed into college football to the nth degree from a talent evaluation standpoint to the have covered it for forever standpoint, and they're all telling us, hey, this dude has a chance to be the best receiver ever to play college football. This is not like your neighborhood take guy or your local radio guy just saying that, or maybe someone from the Ohio State side of things saying that. This is like your Joel Klatt, your Todd McShays, people that are all the way dialed into this sport saying, yeah, he's a one of one. And that was said throughout the season, and you're hearing that, but then you're also watching the Ohio State game plan, and you're like, okay, why does he have 35 yards against Michigan? That doesn't feel like the right approach. I think Chip Kelly deserves a ton of credit for the way they've utilized him, the way they've been aggressive, the way they've pushed the ball downfield. And when Jeremiah Smith is now operating at this level, one, it just changes the entire complexion of the pass game. Will Howard's job got a lot easier with trying to target Jeremiah Smith downfield when they dial it up for him. Emeka Egbuka's job a lot easier. And the run game now gets to really, I think, show their teeth, if you will. Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, that's 2 RB1s, man. And they're starting anywhere in the country. And they've decided now to share the load together in Columbus, and they did it yesterday to the tune of darn near 200 yards. They probably could have gone over that if they had really wanted to. It's a brand new year here in 2025, and we're all about setting goals and also actually hitting those goals. That's why I want to talk to you today about our sponsor, Huel, spelled Huel, the global complete nutrition brand trusted by millions. Their Black Edition ready to drink is a complete meal in a bottle, high in protein, low in sugar, and packed with all the nutrients your body needs to perform at its best. And right now, new customers can try it for 15% off plus a free gift using our code on this show, code HARDCOUNT15. All right, so I know a lot of us got a lot going in the mornings. Maybe you can't make all the time to cook yourself some bacon and eggs. Huel got you covered. Again, got all the nutrients you need to keep you rolling throughout the day. Perfectly balanced meal designed by experts to provide all the nutrients that your body needs. So that's 15% off plus a free new gift for customers with the code HARDCOUNT15 at Huel.com. Start your year off strong, unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel, nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Again, that's 15% off plus a gift for all new customers using code HARDCOUNT15. Credit Ryan Day, man. Give Ryan Day all the credit because as much as he got dunked on post-Michigan, he needs to now receive the flowers the opposite direction. Because it would have been very easy for that locker room, for that staff, heck, for Ryan Day, like I just said, after Michigan to just kind of pack it up, say, woe is me, have the sympathy show, all that stuff. That wasn't this team, man. Definitely not against Tennessee, definitely not against Oregon. And so what I think that speaks to is the foundation of the culture at Ohio State. And that was something I think a lot of us questioned, especially after the Michigan game. Like, hey, why can't they get over the hump against this team now that is, just to call a spade here, not as talented as them? And again, the Michigan game is probably a catalyst, but I do think that when you look at trying to figure out who someone's culture is and what it looks like, you find out what the culture is after you get punched in the mouth. You find out what the culture is after you have your greatest public embarrassing failure, like losing to Michigan for the 4th time in a row. That's a squad that won 7 games this year, the Michigan Wolverines. It's also important to note here, Ryan Day being able to keep this team operating at a certain level of intensity, I think deserves to be rewarded as well in the public opinion, because it would have also, I think, been pretty easy if you're Ohio State to have the Michigan loss, come out firing against Tennessee and say, okay, we got something to prove, we're playing with some extra juice, we're playing a little bit more free, whatever, and then you beat Tennessee the way that you beat them, and everyone's telling you how great you are. Hey, Ohio State's this, Ohio State's that. This Ohio State team won a national championship, and then you go play Oregon, and you kind of have this exhale moment going into that game because you feel like, okay, we've kind of shown who we are a little bit. We can kind of rest a little bit more now that we've, kind of put all the negativity to rest to some extent, and then get beat by Oregon. Like, that was definitely a storyline that was out there into the multiverse. So I didn't see that. I saw the same team post-Michigan as I saw post-Tennessee. And that, I think, speaks to how dialed in this Ohio State team is, how much of an edge they're playing with. That's dangerous, man. That is extremely, extremely dangerous. Oregon's a good football team. Like, I'm not sitting here today saying, man, we were all wrong about Oregon. No, Oregon beat this team last time in Eugene. Credit this staff, credit this team for continuing to take strides since that game. If you watched our pregame show yesterday, we said this. The evolution of both squads since that game was going to be obvious in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State very clearly took what happened against Michigan, took what happened in Eugene, took what happened really since October, and has continued to evolve, self-scout, and now is playing their best football at the right time. So again, like Ohio State, they're the favorite in Vegas. That's great. They are going to be, I think, in the national championship game. I would take them to win the national championship. That's not really a hot take, not really swinging a big bat too much, but this is real. This is the Ohio State team we were told about. This is the apex predator we were warned about. The scary thing now is they're in hunting mode. All right, like everyone sees those National Geographic clips of like the lions kind of lounging with the big mane. They're just hanging out. That was Ohio State really for the better part of the regular season. And it bit them a couple times. Now Ohio State, having been bit, this lion's angry, this lion's hunting, this lion's aggressive, and with how much firepower they have, how much talent they have, the best team on paper in college football, that team on paper is now translating to the grass, and it's a bad deal for the rest of college football. So I cannot wait to watch the Texas game. Again, quick preview for that a little bit later in the show. But this Ohio State team, the edge, the weapons, it's all clicking right now. It's all clicking right now, and that should be terrifying. That should be terrifying. I think that is terrifying if we're going to keep it a buck.